but still is something. It's like a step-by-step building blocks, because we usually take for granted. We think that etymology is something knowing the sound, then knowing everything. It's not like that, unfortunately. Then we fall into this folk etymology problem, where we start separating syllables and assigning them meanings, and then kind of trying to figure out what it means. It is all very conjectural in a way. But to be really in understanding of etymology, it requires also a little knowledge of grammar, of syntax, of morphology, how morphology is built, why the root, suffix, ending, what they are assigned to do, what their roles, what is prefix, what are these upasargas, why they are so powerful, how it was in the Vedic language. We need to look into all these elements, and then we will see that even within the root also can be composed with elements which are more meaningful and less meaningful. For example, the first syllable always is more powerful than extension of the root. You will see it throughout all the system of roots. For example, if I take root U, it is the basic root when huge is already extended root. J is an extension to the U syllable, yeah? And then Yud, D is an extension. So all these extended roots, they are considered to be simple roots because they are syllables. Syllable is the root, yeah? But the open roots are generally bearing the biggest significance. And the extension adds to it a peculiar kind of context or application or additional meaning or flavor or color or something, yeah? How it could be used. So you, which is unite, becomes huge to yoke, and yud to fight, and yupa from, and so on. So, and even this you can be deconstructed. So the meaning within the root also has to be seen. That U is E and U, two basic elements, which are building the U root and V root in a different positioning. And that is very important. Those elements, pure elements such as E, U, Ri, A, these elements are fundamental blocks which are building roots, simple roots, extended roots, and then grammar enters. Grammar enters, we build words. That means we have root suffix which becomes stem, and then endings becomes the word, and the word is introduced into the sentence. Sentence becomes structure. So all of it has a kind of its own portion of significance. All these elements are responsible for the meaning. And one cannot just arrive at meaning from just one sound. It's not possible. The sound is being used, and how it is used, and why, and position, and combination, and altogether it builds the whole tapestry of meaning. Makes sense?
I was wondering, sorry, can I just ask you one thing?
Sure, sure,
I
please.
was wondering that is this structure that you have spoken of, like this development, rather not structure, this evolution of the simple sound to the word, or from the stem to the word, etc. Is this a feature that is very unique? Like, where does Sanskrit stand in the uniqueness of this possibility of development? Is this
Yes.
also a feature with other language, like the Slavic language? Does it also do something like that?
Yeah,
Or Greek or
definitely. It's
Latin?
every language, Greek, Latin, Slavic languages, they all follow the same way of dealing. It's a Indra's way of capturing the sound, the meaningful sound of Brihaspati. Yeah? How Indra, the Lord of the divine mind, captured it and put it into use. So it created, Indra created an alphabet, That's what we have. Alphabet is the first creation by the mind from the sound to capture the sound, yeah, in the meaningful fashion. Even alphabet. You,
But
what
the
to say?
question was, why were there so many different alphabets?
No, they are not different. They are just, actually, they are not very different. We have the same set of articulatory devices possible. We can't have more because apparatus is a particular, limited, physically limited. But of course, ABCD, we spoke already about this, that it comes from another system of Moses. Moses generated that system from his own vision of reality, mysterium, and each letter corresponds to a particular law of creation, and and that signified the language, and language was used differently, not as a vocal, but as the symbolic um, arcanum. They call these laws of existence. Each letter is a particular law of existence. Yeah? And that is something else, and that's why it was so confused. The whole European culture was so confused over millennia. They don't know how they speak, yeah, because they didn't have a clearly demarcated system of etymons, which Sanskrit had. And I already told this, when Sanskrit was discovered in 18th, 19th century in Europe, it created the whole, you know, boost of all new sciences of comparative languages, linguistics. Linguistics came into being with discovery of Sanskrit. Alphabet is the fundamental issue because ABCD does not explain how we speak. But tells us what is happening when we articulate sounds. And then you see that these are not only just the syllables, but they also correspond to the roots. And roots have a particular significance which you can trace back to the systematic position in the alphabetic order in all possible articulations. And that is striking because there is a correspondence of the position where you articulate sound with the meaning which it generates. Because that effort to articulate a particular sound with the tongue, with the lips, with the back tongue, with the voice, with the breath, creates a particular psychological state within the being, which is recognized as first original significance by us, regardless to what language you speak. You make an effort to generate sound E, you will have to press tongue to the palate. And this pressing tongue to the palate creates that tension in you, in your understanding, in your physical correspondence of understanding of pressing, narrowing, forcing, and from there you have the significance. It's not only in the sound, it's within the how we articulate the sounds. What happens to us when we do it? So it's a total system in a way, which works regardless to whether you understand what it means or not, because you will arrive at this understanding. Yes. You wanted to say something, Subbarao.
Yes, sir. I just have a quick question. So we have a root and words formed with the root and words with many meanings. In the evolution of the words and the roots, was there any societal influence? Is it like, for instance, for the same word, if you go through the dictionary, I find at least about 5 or 6 meanings. They are not very independent of each other, but then definitely in context of what we want to say or write, it's going to make a lot of difference for a student of learning Sanskrit. So could you kindly elaborate on this, sir? Thank you.
Definitely, definitely. This is the major thing of Sanskrit, the difficulty. If you take a root word yoga, you will find yoga has 150 significances in Monier Williams' dictionary. 150. Choose whatever you want. So, but that is the point. The point is that the contextual application, the contextual meaning, when you take the root, which has general significance, and apply it to a particular context, you generate a new meaning. And I must tell you that those 5 or 150 words meanings are not the full list. It's just an open list. So you can generate new meanings. And believe me, they will be right. They will be correct. Now, this ability to generate the meanings, to create them, to understand their origin from the sound which you create new meanings, is actually that ability which Sanskrit generates or helps us to understand or arrive at. I think this is the unique opportunity for us to widen the scope or the capacity of our mind and to become flexible, to tap into Brihaspati's speech, to feel the word, to feel its hues of meaning, to feel its vibration, consciousness, not just imposed by the mind because of some cultural preference or somebody told you this, that it means this, and you just use it in order to communicate with others that they will fast understand you without a delay. It's not for that purpose. It's for the purpose of your self-understanding what is happening. So, and when I was yesterday, was I'm trying to put into the context this particular problem of etymology. Now we are talking about, you see, I'm not rushing into the sounds because I know the problem will appear if I will start looking into the basic roots. You will be taken by it, and that will be the end of the story. Before coming to these roots, I want us to understand that you can arrive at any significance from any root. Can you imagine this? If you take, for example, any of the actions, what do we know what is really being spoken? If I say any verb, let me take to go or to be. Let us say start with to be. What is to be actually in linguistic terms? Wow, wait a minute. We don't know what is to be really. We know what is to be because we use this word automatically. We know that being is this. Being is availability of the self, of the being or existence or something which is. But what is? Oops. We don't know what is. Really. Or what is to see? Or in linguistic terms, to hear. What does it do? Or to die? Die. Yeah, we know dying, so he dead, yeah, we buried him and that's it. But that is all the context in which something is happening. What is to die? Mrityu. What is that mriyate, mriyamana? What is that all thing mri root doing? How does it express dying? Or how, I don't know, to love. How do you express loving? Why snihiyati, prinati? Why all these words? Where do they come from? What do they really mean? Sanskrit is very good in one particular thing. I was joking about this. If you say I love you in Sanskrit, you will be very concrete. Person will know what it means. And if you say I love you in English, nobody would understand what it means. Yeah, because it means anything, everything. Yeah, I love you. What? In Sanskrit, it's very clear. Like you have several roots. Kam. By the way, kamaye and this kamayati, kamayate, which is used in the 10th class on the causative sense, is kanti from here, yes, love. It's used more and more in erotic sense, but truly speaking, it wasn't erotic in the beginning. It was um, more want, yeah, or want to be with, or want to join and to share the space, which later became more and more erotic. But if you analyze etymologically, you will see, or lubhyati from which love is the same etymology, lobha. Lobha is a strong passion, desire to possess, yeah? To gobble up, to to appropriate, to make your own enjoyment. Yeah, as Mother says beautifully, when people say "I love you," the energy which comes out is the same as "I hate you," because this is the Mother's words. Because this idea to possess and to appropriate and to enjoy egoistically by yourself is what people understand by love. And that is lobha. That is exactly, and somebody says lubhyami, you have to be very careful because you become a food for someone. So, so or prinami, or I love it. Pri root is interesting for me. Prema, priti, all these words. I think it is from the kindred root pri with long ri, to fill or to fulfill, to complete oneself. So if somebody says, I love you with prinami, that means I am fulfilled with your presence. I am becoming complete, purna. I become full of perfect. I am perfected with in the contact. Or somebody says snihiyami, so I love. Then you see where I'm heading at. Etymology, meaning the original meaning of the root, which came to mean this love. But love is there somewhere, and how you love is here with the word. Yeah? And that is the. So snihyami will be from root snih, to become soft. Yeah? Melt, to melt. Snigdha is slippery, or like becoming soft to the extent that, and that is mainly motherly love. When mother loves you, Snihiyati, then that means becoming soft, gentle, to be gentle and to be fond of. Yeah? These are the meanings. So when person tells I love you in Sanskrit, you immediately know what they want, how they love you. But this is not the case in English. Yeah? I noticed this when I was translating, for example, Mother's text into Sanskrit. We published 4 austerities and 4 liberations. And I also translated Kiri Joshi's speeches into Sanskrit, which were published. And I noticed how the big difference between English and Sanskrit. In English, you don't know what it means, actually. It can mean anything. You can direct it any way you want. That's why people say, well, do you know what I mean? Because truly speaking, it's not clear. It's really not clear. In Sanskrit, it is very clear because each word has a particular significance. You may say I love you in many ways. And so I wanted to show you that how many words for cognition or for speaking, if I take the whole list, it's the list of the words to speak, to say. And you will see that say, speak, tell, all these words, yeah, they in English also there are several words which arrive at the same meaning from different roots. Yeah, to say and to speak, there is subtle difference. Yeah? Speaking is more general, saying is something concrete in the moment of time. We know it. I do not know how we know it. By usage we know it, yeah, by application. So we have vadati, speaks, and there are many prefixes. I'm not touching prefixes because prefixes will change dramatically the meaning. Yeah? Vach, vakti, and from here vach, speech, and many derivatives. Bhash. Interesting is that vaj and vat are kindred roots with different extensions. With va, u. U is the major sound of filling the space. And you could see it in many roots, so that U has that filling space with vibration. You have also another Vas root with another extension, which means also filling the space, dwelling or shining. Shining, dwelling. Why? Because you can fill the space with vibration of light or with vibration of sound. Yeah, it pervades the space, fills the space. Ooh. From here you have udakam, water. Water is also always filling. It doesn't have a form. It always flows, so to say. Vahati, vah is another extension with va root. And all of these in passive voice will give u. Yeah. Ukti, uditam, passive voice, udyate, uchyate, uhyate, yeah, ushyate, all of them will give u, that original u, which va here represents. So that filling, and the best root is avatu mam avatu vaktaram, yes, this root av, which is originally u, from which uti as help or filling. So to protect or it means to fill. Avati means he's filling, and by filling, protecting from within. Once you are full of the presence of the being or the devata, then you are protected. There is no gap for other force to enter and to disturb you. I'm just kind of elaborating u only. And then if you take bhash, there is another kindred root, bhas, to shine, and bha, to shine. Yeah? Bha is the basis, to appear. To appear means to fill the space with your presence. And from here we will have bhi, shrinking, bhu, becoming, bhu, that becoming, filling. Again, u comes with bh, kind of appearance which fills the space, and bhri, to bear, to bear, like resist against any change. It's quite interesting. You will see the same meanings. But bhash is actually to emanate, to cast light, or to cast the vibration, or to express oneself. To vibrate as express oneself. And so bhashate, he speaks as he's casting out or appears to be or presents himself with this projection or emanation, to emanate something. Finally, you see, I'm deconstructing, coming back to the original or to the simple meanings, because all these meanings, more complex meanings, came from simple ones which we do not see. So to see the simple one, to understand, to feel it, to understand it, to see it in other roots, is that capacity of understanding etymology. And then you see, oh, it's used like this. Oh, it's applied. Yes, contextually it becomes only this. That's understood. Language chose that particular usage. Yeah? Kathayati, interesting word, most probably denominative from katha, how. Yes, Anuradha.
Sorry, no, there was just when you're talking of avatu, there's also avir avirma edhi. So it has the
Yes,
same sense of fill me up, like
yes.
that avir.
Reveal, open up, or kind of, fulfill. Let us say not open, it's used as open, no? Avih as a prefix to open up. Yeah. But truly speaking, open means fill me to the extent that I will become complete. Complete me, in a way. But this avich with long a, and that adds something, some extension, yeah, which is, yes, that extension, that or that, yeah, and that extension is not, it's farther away from u, in a way. but yes, it's already on the level of feelings. Once you start operating on this kind of thinking, you would get it more and more precise. You'll tune your instrument to Brihaspati's speech. Yeah. So Kathaya, the interesting form, is from Katha. Katha, how? Katham. Katha is the story, yes, also. And it is also the questioning word Katha, how. So Kathayati, he tells how. Yeah? Basically, it's absolutely that meaning. You would be surprised to think. So Katham, yes, the question. Yatha tatha katha. Katha is used in Vedic language. So Kathayati is the howing. How me, how it is, how it was. Yes.
I mean, because there's a narration of a sequence of events, that's why. A story
Yes,
is very typically a narration of a sequence. This happened, and then that happened, and then that happened, and then that happened. So how
absolutely.
did you end up here? Because that happened before, and that happened before, and that happened. So very
Right.
interesting.
Yes. So you see the difference to arrive at telling, speaking, you can arrive from different routes. You can how it, you can sound it, you can feel it, you can emanate light, present yourself at bhash, kind of cast your appear to be something. Yeah, because people, when they speak, they appear as something. They believe if they say this, they will appear that. Yeah, and people will believe them that they are that because they appear so to be so. I
Can I
speak
ask a
like that.
little,
Yeah.
sorry, just a more complex question? There is that, therefore, the choice of the word reflects the intention of the speaker or the
Yeah.
effect that it you will have on the listener.
Right. And nowadays, many people are preoccupied with this effect more than what they really are. Yeah? They learn to behaviorism, they learn the speeches. Politicians learn what to say in order to get where they want to get. Yeah? And they're ready to bend and to put it into the perspective that would give them the advantage. This is what is happening, lying, as it were. Yeah? Lying, the appearance is being presented, but it is not true. It's just in speech. It's bhashate. It's quite interesting if you think of that. It's another semantic, another meaning of speaking. Yeah? Present yourself, appear to be, appear. Yes, Santosh, you wanted to say something.
Bravit will also come in the same group.
Who?
Bhruyat, Bravit.
Yes, we will come here. You see, there are more of them. I just want you to see how we arrive at this meaning, because that is the point. That they are all synonyms, yes, but they mean different things. Yeah? The same with love, as we looked into love. Now we look into speak, grinati, to voice from here, gir, this gri, glossa, it's actually articulating, gr, this to give gear, yeah, to, and gear also to gobble. Gobble is the same etymology, yeah, to to swallow, to swallow and to cast. It is going through the vocal cords or through the voice. Somewhere there it is being formulated. But it's quite interesting. Gri is this casting the sound as articulation, but Gai, Gi, is already also casting, but without articulation so much. There is no more gri obstruction there, gri, but it's gi, it's more singing. I was thinking it's the same voicing, but without too much of making those obstacles, articulations, hard sounds.
Uh, the Greek also has the growl, no, the English growl,
Yes, growling, yeah.
and I think, I mean, just thinking aloud, it's just like the gr. In fact, I would wonder if you would like to call this articulation or the other one, guy. that needs a more conscious articulation than gr does. Gai.
Gita, yeah. It's a more vowel, more singing, more unobstructed, whereas growling is more rough and breaking, and it's less singing. It's more articulating. That's where I was heading at. But these are the impressions my mind or my being receives from these roots when I apply them to my own articulation. There I am checking on them. I'm checking on them while I'm doing it myself. Yeah? And there I arrive at this kind of psychological states which I consider to be significant for this meaning, general. And Path, I cannot comment. It's a later root. Most probably it was generated from another root.
Sorry, can I just one more thing before, because I'll have to leave shortly. But the what about these lost verb roots like drish for to see pashyati? We no longer have pash, and for you have the pibbati. I mean, how pibbati, it has like pa or something like that at the source. So how does one account for these lost roots? Apparently lost roots.
Yeah, they are not lost. It's just a selection, and the language has thousands of years. And you have darshati in Vedic language instead of pashyati. You can use darshati. So you have the words which are kind of which moved away from usage over time. Yeah, so to say, the pashyati is from spash root actually, to become clear, to perceive, let us say. And then Pashu from here, yes, as Sri Aurobindo says, is the one who possesses perception, who can see. That's animal. Animal means the being with consciousness, who has perception. So not necessarily Pashu as an animal, but more conscious being. And we know Pashupati is not the Pashupati of Shiva, who is the Lord of Pashus, but of the all conscious beings in a way. But Pashyati is Spashtam. We have Spashti Karoti still, yes, Spasht in Hindi. So to be clear about, so from that pashyati is the remnant, as it were, which is used to see more and more, and took over. And drish is used only in a causative sense, darshayati, darshanam, and so on. Yeah? So you don't have pashyati. You cannot use pash in causative. You can use only drish in causative. So
And yes, and in the darshayati is the causative of darshati. Like darshati is not there, but you have darshayati.
yes.
That's it's interesting.
And the same with Jan root, which became Jayate, and passive voice became like middle voice in the classical Sanskrit. But Jan, there was Janati in a Vedic, and then Janati disappeared, Jayate took over, and then Janayati causative was created. Generate. Yeah, these are the processes. So in the historical grammar, you can look, trace them back. You can see how things shifted, but they are not really fundamental for our purpose, because our purpose is this Shamsati. Now look at this. Shamsati is praising, it's pointing out, to point, Shams, to make someone stand out, to make him stand out, to kind of, this is the one. And once we do it, we praise somebody and we point someone as an exceptional being. Hve, to call, ku, to sound, to cry aloud, rich, archati, I cannot go through all, bru, braviti, jalpati, interesting word. I think it is coming from this knock language, jalpati, like moving the tongue, lap, 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 jalp. I think the same would be lapati. Lapati and jalpati are most probably produced not directly from the roots, but from this knock language. There are two different types of languages. One is derived from the roots, other is imitating the sounds of the outer being, like knock knock. Yeah, knock knock is actually I heard the sound and I created the word. From the outer sound I create imitation word. And there are many such words, and they influence the like Jalpati and Lapati. I think they are coming mm, from that kind of association, though they may have a root behind it. Varnayati is another way to paint or to to put color on, to color up everything, to make it colorful, and so on and so forth. So I just wanted you to see that the capacity to go back to the original root and to understand where these meanings are coming from to mean that particular thing. There is another very good exercise I have. I started to create the terms of cognition in Indian psychology, psycholinguistic approach, which gives us different routes to know, which could be very useful for us to see. If we look at the roots to know, we will have many. What is to know, actually? When we say to know, what do we really mean? What is knowing? If you start thinking about this, what is knowing, you will see that there are many modalities of consciousness which mean this particular state of knowing. And not one, not two, not three even, but there are many. And they are all different. There are different ways of knowing. So if I take a root vid, which is Veda, Vidya, and so on, then root vid, according to Panini, Vetti, yes, Vindati, Vetti in the second class, Vindati in the sixth class. Panini says that Vetti and Vindati is the same root, vid. So Vindati is to find out, to discover, and Vetti to know. And from here we have even Vita. Vita as the possession. But possession in what way? Something which was acquired, which was found out, which was discovered. And then it can be knowledge, it can be physical objects, it can be treasure, money, vitta kosha, bank nowadays. So vid is to know by discovering, by finding out. From here, vid in Latin is to see. Video. We still use this video. So to see because you objectively discover something. Something as if you are traveling and then you come to know, or you discover it as it is, and that is Veda. Veda as it is discovered. It is not a subjective state of consciousness of knowing. Subjective will be jnana. Sri Aurobindo translates jnana, nobody says jnana in India, jnana, jnana, whatever, but not jnana. I speak jnana as it is. So rujna, janati, yes, has a meaning of, Sri Aurobindo translates it as self-realization, as knowing oneself. And it's quite interesting because it is confirmed in Panini, because Panini deals with this rujna in his sutras, and he says that you cannot use the direct object with the root. You cannot say pustakam janami, yeah? I know the book. You can't use it in the direct sense. Nowadays in spoken Sanskrit, everybody is using it because it is taken from English language. So I know him. Yeah, you cannot say janami, tam janami. because jña root is the subjective state of consciousness. So you can say pustakena janami, I know with the help of the book. That's what Panini says. You can use only the instrumental case, tritiya vibhakti, with jña root. So tena janami, I know with the help of that, with the help of book. By the book, I know what I know myself. I have a state of consciousness which I arrived at with the help of the book. So this is jña. And it's quite interesting. It has many extensions by the prefixes. Samjnanam is knowledge by identity, as Sri Aurobindo translates. Vijnana is knowledge in detail. Ajnana is knowledge by power, by dwelling on the object of sense with power. And prajnana, knowing objectively, so to say, forward. And so on, abhijnana, parijnana, and there are many, many, many ways of jnana. Prefixes I'm not even looking into yet. It's a big topic as it is, and etymologically very important. We will look into it because these are, vi, some, they have fundamental significances, changing dramatically the roots. But look at this. So vid, to know, to discover, jña, to realize oneself through some means, to arrive at one's own self-understanding. Chi, chinoti, chiketa, and chinute, and to gather, to focus upon, to concentrate upon, to pile up, from here chitti as piling up, or chit, extended root from chi, consciousness chit, Sat Chit Ananda, and chetati, first class, chitta from here, chetas, prachetas, vichetas, Vedic words, achetas, chetana, chaitanya, derivations of consciousness, to perceive. Now, chit is to focus, to become aware of one particular significant point within undifferentiated background. So I am kind of noticing, note. I am noticing something else within this undifferentiated something which is not moving. Something has moved. Something distinguishes itself. So this noticing is also consciousness. To know, to notice. It's quite interesting. So jña, to come back to jña, to kno, gnosis is actually etymology jña. Then when we say no, it's actually from jña.
So just a small doubt. This vijnana, like, is it also signifying science?
Oh, it's
Because in
later. In the later language, correct.
Because in Tamil, vijnanam is science.
Yes. In the later language, especially, yes, classical and closer to our time, vijnana means only that. But in the Vedic, if you say Vijnana Maya Purusha or Vijnanam Brahma in Taittiriya, you will see that Vijnana is a supermind. The knowledge, as Sri Aurobindo says, Vijnana is a comprehensive cognition of all the properties and all the elements and holistic knowing, everything in detail. And of course, and from there it comes to knowing as scientific knowledge, yes. Science should be that vijnana, that supramental knowledge.
Vijnanamaya Kosh.
Yes.
This Vigyani is for a very gifted, learned man. He's also
Right.
considered Vigyani.
Yes, also the one who discerns, distinguishes. From here, viveka is close, yes, vivich root. Also to know. So chintayati is another extension from chit, to think. Man is totally different root, to know. Also important, manas, manava, mati, pramati, anumati, sumati, the manu also from here. To consider, to think, to ponder upon, to have opinion about. And a kindred root ma, because man and ma are very closely related. Man is extension of nasal extension. Ma is to shape, to create a form. Yeah? And that formating, shaping is actually very closely related to man, to create a form, a shape. Yeah? To distinguish it in this particular format for rupa, and from here manas. Manas is that which holds onto the image of things, and by holding, focusing consciousness and allowing it, our consciousness to know. So manas has the major faculty of concentration, concentrating, focusing consciousness,
Man,
measuring the form.
man as a verb has two different type of conjugations in Atmanepadi.
Yeah,
Do they mean
manyate.
different thing or the same thing?
Manyate, manute, yes, they are in Atmanepadam.
Manve,
Say it again.
manyate and manve.
Manute, yes, manve.
So two different type of conjugation for the same person and
Yeah,
same version.
yeah, the roots can be in several classes, yes. And Sanskrit language is very ancient, so you can have the same root in manute, eighth class, or manyate, fourth class. So you can have the same root in several classes. If I open in the dictionary, you will understand immediately, especially the ancient roots, such as man and others. From here, man and mental being, mind. From here, mind. The same etymology. Look at this. Manute, manyate, manyati, manvate, also in the Rig
Manvate.
Veda.
Yes.
Um, and it's very beautiful. They give where it is found. Yeah, Rig Veda. It's there. You can find this form. Yeah, only these roots are used with man. But I would not be surprised if somewhere in the Rig Veda you will find a rare form like manati. I would not be surprised. Like Kri, if you take root Kri, it will have many forms. And in the Rig Veda you will find Karati in the first class Kri. Not Karoti and Krinoti, not in the eighth and fifth, but also in the first class. Here, Vedic Karshi. It is the aorist basis used, yeah, in the second class. The aorist base can be used in these forms. Vedic is very different. Yeah. So if you look at how many use karase, karate, atmanepadam, karati, incredible. Krana, krantach, the participles.
It's an ocean.
Yeah. Yeah, there are many things. Many things, but these are the forms, the formations within the language, within the grammar. The root can be used in different classes. Well, somebody was asking me, why so many classes, so many bases you can build? Is there a difference in meaning? And I think originally there was a difference in meaning. Originally, but then it got lost. If you look at the verbs of fifth class, krenoti, it would be a bit different, krenoti from karoti. You would, or sunoti, yes, suadigana, it's basically. So you will find that nu suffix has a particular sense of causing, propelling, impelling, pushing forward. like nu root. There is a nu to cause, to push, yeah, and nud from here also. It's quite interesting that you will find nu suffix having that activating the root in a particular way, different from first class or sixth class. Or fourth class. Fourth class has that more withdrawing significance, more like passive voice significance, like manyate, jayate, mriyate. It will be always falling onto itself. Tushyate, he is happy. So it will have that atmanepada sense. It's weird, but it is there. Somehow we don't pay attention to it because we don't think about it. But if we start thinking, we will find that within the structure, it is even these suffixes create a particular significance, specific. So if you look at all these words of knowing, man is to measure, chi is to notice, jna is to realize oneself, vid is to discover, and all of them have meaning to know. Buddh is to awaken, actually, and then to observe and so on, to learn, to notice, to perceive. From here, buddhi as awakening, opening of consciousness. Smri, to remember, also to think. And shru, to hear, and drish, to see. And all of these can be used to know, to see, to hear. Dhyai, dhi, also an important root from here, dhyana. It's a kindred root to dha, to establish, to fix one's attention upon. Yeah, dhi, to meditate means from here dhyana, when your fixation, dharana, dhri is another kindred root. To fix with force your attention, that means to concentrate. And then from here, to hold on to, dhri. From here, dharma. From here, dharana. Yeah? And dhi would be already fixation, which is soft and smooth, like dhyana. Dhyana is effortless fixation. And from here, meditation. Yeah? So I'm just wanting you to see how we arrive at the same meaning from different roots, because that is the point where significance of etymology is to be understood. Not in the meaning of knowing, but in how you arrive at this, in that particularity of application. We have to deconstruct the meaning of knowing and see how we arrived at this. Okay? Just few examples for you to get a taste of it, how deep the rabbit hole goes. It really goes very deep into this significance of Brihaspati's speech. All right, I will stop here for today. If you have burning questions, so please go ahead. If not, next time we will meet later, if you want, again half an hour later, because half an hour earlier nobody comes. We were sitting, few of us, waiting for you to come. So we will meet.
Yes, sir. Yeah, yes, sir. We could meet at usual 6:30.
6:30. Okay. Okay, I'll close with mantra. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayaham Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om. Namaste.